What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. We have a very, very special guest that's joined with us today. We have Mr. Moritz Wietersheim. Hopefully I said your second name right, but
About right.
Almost right?
Almost.
How do you say it?
Wietersheim, but we're not
Wow.
going to practice this live here on the podcast. It's going to take forever.
Wietersheim. So yeah, I'm literally delighted to have you on the podcast dedicated to Bitcoin. I know that you're also the founder at Spectre Solutions as well, and you are also a Bitcoin OG, and you've spent a lot of time in El Salvador recently. So he's literally going to be explaining to us about Bitcoin adoption and why it's not too late to get involved. But first, it's time for a sponsored segment of this video brought to you by Bitcoin Point, the easiest way to buy Bitcoin in the UK with as little as £5. By default, you also get an online wallet to store and send Bitcoin, but you can also add an existing Bitcoin wallet as well. Register in under 3 minutes and link your bank account for an instant payment to buy Bitcoin at the cheapest rate from 0.2% only. You can also set up recurring purchases by sending weekly or monthly transfers from your UK bank account. Bitcoin Point also allows its users to send Bitcoin on the Lightning Network for faster, cheaper, and more secure transactions with my code podcast1, which you can check in the description below. You'll get £5 of free Bitcoin after your first transaction. So don't wait, check Bitcoin Point or download the Bitcoin Point app and use my code now. So first of all, would you like to introduce yourself and how you first discovered Bitcoin?
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a Bitcoin OG. I sort of stumbled over Bitcoin in early 2017.
Right.
And I just yesterday evening, I was just counting. It's already almost 5 years now that I'm Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so, yes, but you run into people who have been in this like 2011, 12, and who had a very clear analysis of this. And then you run into people who have seen it over and over again, and they still don't seem to get it. But yes, so early 2017, a friend of mine, she mentioned blockchain to me, and I was like, what's this blockchain thing? I keep hearing this in sort of in the media or whatever. And I was like, okay, let's look this up. I went on, I don't know, probably Wikipedia. And then I asked myself, okay, fancy database stuff, what is really working there and what is really interesting there? And of course, you stumble over Bitcoin, and having had like a background in finance, and I've been to Argentina and Brazil, and sort of was just months before the financial crisis 2001 in Argentina hit in Argentina on the street, which was very like a new experience if you're from Germany, Austria, where you usually are used to everything's working, and then you are in Argentina on the street and you don't understand why peso dollar is pegged 1-to-1 when nothing really works, and everything's super expensive and the people are on the street. And so I had this always a strong interest in financial crises and the internet bubble and questioning the monetary system as such. So I was surprised it took me until 2017 to stumble across, and I thought like, I'm way too late now. Bitcoin, I don't know, was at, I don't know, €1,000. And I was like, what was I doing the last 5 years? And yes, and I run into people who tell me the same, like, wow, I just like during Corona, I had to change my thinking and I had to take a really thorough look at Bitcoin, and yes, and maybe change my perspective on what is happening actually.
It's funny that you say that, because everybody that I talk to seem to mention 2017 rather than any earlier. Like, I don't know why. Like, why do you think people mention 2017 like as opposed to any earlier?
So Bitcoin has built in these sort of halvenings. The supply gets cut in half every 4 years, and that's how you end up with these 21 million. You know, at some point there will be no more Bitcoin issued because this block reward gets halved. So you have always like this halvening event. There's a supply reduction, and then what happens? What is working then through the market to the next 2 years is sort of a Bitcoin shortage, and is creating this hype cycle. So in 2017, there was another of these cycles. I think Satoshi Nakamoto, or the group around Satoshi Nakamoto who built this in on purpose to have these attention moments and price spikes. So people are really like getting their attention to Bitcoin and see what's happening. So like a lot of people came in 2017 at me at the beginning. I thought like, okay, I need a little investment position in this. And then it's very confusing because you come in and then you hear about Bitcoin and then there's Ethereum and then there's all these other scammy copies of Bitcoin, and you at the beginning you're very confused and you think like, oh, maybe there's this MySpace, Facebook, and maybe just Bitcoin is the first thing and it's not, there's something better coming. And when you then have your full circle, we say like your shitcoin phase, like a lot of Bitcoiners, like most of the Bitcoiners, I don't know many Bitcoiners who did not have a shitcoin phase, just very few. So you have this multi-coin portfolio, then you start researching everything you bought there and you think like, okay, wow, this is like problematic incentives, like Ethereum had a 70% pre-mine. They're changing the narrative all the time. It's like a marketing thing they're doing. And with Bitcoin, it's like from the outside, it's like orange coin. It's like people call it boomer coin, because it has one mission, and the mission is sound money technology in the sense of the Austrian economics and the cypherpunks philosophy for the internet. So there is less of a hype thing going on. And so you have to go through this full circle a lot of people have to go this full circle to really understand, okay, maybe I should just focus on Bitcoin. Probably everything else is noise, and the signal is really Bitcoin.
Right. So like, what's your take on Ethereum then?
Oh, I can give you a nice analogy, which I like to give people. So when you have like this crypto space or whatever, and you have a road in the middle of this crypto space. On the one side, you have engineering office, and it's called the Bitcoin engineering office. And there you have like a bunch of like quite nerdy guys, super security, infrastructure focused, and they want to build the monetary technology for the internet for the next 100 years, 200 years.
Right.
And these are the kind of guys who are like these glasses here and have their pens here and like super nerdy. And most of the time you don't really understand what they're talking about, and you need to really dig through this. And on the other side of the street, you have something which is like crypto land, and you have all these shitcoin casinos and people. All this is sort of operated by some kind of super smart clowns and scammers, and people go into these casinos and leave to the back door and have lost a lot of money. Other people are leaving this casino with Lamborghinis. So, and every week you have some kind of a huge accident happening and blowing up, and so this is how I see it. So and it's also like quite interesting what's happening there in crypto and shitcoin land, because something's blowing up, but some interesting stuff is also happening. And then the engineers from the Bitcoin space look over and say like, well, this is a disaster, but actually with the original idea they had maybe is a good idea, and maybe we can put this on a side chain here, or put it into some kind of Bitcoin infrastructure, or put this in a business model which is built on Bitcoin. So I very much think like this. And for me, I only have Bitcoin now. My company and our company is just working on Bitcoin, and it's very tricky to already to keep up with what is happening in Bitcoin. So I don't know how other people who are in crypto or VCs in crypto want to like, they have all these different projects and it's very superficial. And every time you ask them, it's like, okay, what do you think of Ethereum 2.0? They say like, oh, it's interesting, but I have to look deeper into it. And like at some point we just roll our eyes and say like, okay, do your world computer thing. And it's like a weird thing where the problem is not clear. And they have a crazy machine which they're trying to solve a problem, and they trying to focus on another problem every 6 months. And for Bitcoin, it's very clear. It's sound money tech, and that's very exciting if you think about it.
Right. So just a quick one. Can you see my screen at all? Because I'm looking at a series of questions, or can you just see me?
I can only see you.
Okay, great. So I just needed to make sure. So why do you think people should hold Bitcoin as well? Like, that's another great question.
I think Bitcoin is going through different stages. So at the beginning, it was sort of a collectible for cypherpunks and internet and nerds and stuff. And now it's more and more developing into the store of value, and at the same time also building out its payment, retail payment technology, Lightning in El Salvador especially. But the real case for Bitcoin is like to buy it, to hold it, and to save it. It's a savings technology. It's digitally decentralized scarcity, and it's very anti-fragile. And from our analysis, and it's like math, it's scarcity, digital scarcity protected by math. So when you look then, what are the other currencies out there, other assets there? Like, I mean, you have so much money printing now in Germany, you pay negative interest rates. So it's not a good idea to save, in my opinion, in euros or dollars or any other currency. The best currency to save in is Bitcoin. Right. And also, if you look like real estate, I mean, with this, if you have negative interest rates, people just like go to banks and they get a loan for, I don't know, 20 years. They build a huge house for themselves without really having the resources for this size of a house, or they go and they lease a car and they drive a huge car and they just pay 100. So all this consumption gets sucked into now. So we have a great misallocation of capital, and Bitcoin is here to really develop its standing as a global store of value. And if it becomes more bigger, it will become ubiquitous as a payment, as a means of payment. And then when it's becoming really big and really boring, I hope it becomes really boring at some point, and it becomes like a unit of account, and it becomes a global monetary system.
Right. And do you hold any other cryptos currently, or is it just Bitcoin?
No, I sold all my cryptos, I think like 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
When I had like a little position I was holding on to. I was just hoping that some kind of a pump is outperforming Bitcoin for some time. And then I was just like, okay, I don't want to waste my time trading this or just my intention on this. And I wasn't passionate about the projects. I didn't believe in these projects. So no, I only hold Bitcoin, and I'm very happy I only hold Bitcoin.
Right. So you know, like you explained why you only hold Bitcoin. So like, could you explain why Bitcoin is so important to you, and what are the main differences that you see within other cryptos? I think you already explained that first, the importance of it to you and to your team, etc., etc. And you even explained the main differences between Ethereum, but what's the main difference, or like I would say the one main difference that makes Bitcoin stand out from all of the other cryptos that's here and that's to come?
I think the whole story, how it became the first cryptocurrency is very unique. The way it was created, that the creator Satoshi Nakamoto is until today unknown, and we don't know if it's he, her, them, many. We don't know if they're Asian, European, and it doesn't matter. So then the thing wasn't traded for 2 years. And until, I don't know, the pizza day, actually somebody bought a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin. Nobody really traded the thing. And so the original story, how it was set up and generated, and there was no pre-mine, so there was no coins issued to the creators or anything, and the coins originally weren't moved. And the whole ethos in the Bitcoin community was just don't trust, verify. Run your own node. You really have to do your own verification, and like the whole ethos behind the Bitcoin community, which is like not about Lamborghinis or any of this nonsense, but everybody is just saving and is like being very humble and having a sort of a frugal lifestyle. Right. And yeah, and it's just it's a different mindset. I mean. And for me, if I go to a blockchain conference or one of these crypto conferences, I talk to 10 people, and 9 out of 10 conversations don't make any sense to me, because somebody is just trying to show me some weird Mickey Mouse token. And if I go to a Bitcoin conference, it's really 9 out of 10 conversations make a ton of sense, because we are all on this mission to create sound money technology. and make it the best money we ever had. And we have a really good shot at it now. Everything is moving a little bit faster than we expected. So last year we had MicroStrategy coming on with the treasury reserve asset narrative, which is great because they understand, okay, we shouldn't be holding $500 million on our balance sheet. We rather put this into Bitcoin. And now the El Salvador president comes in, and the El Salvadoran people are starting to use it as a payment system, but also now start saving in it, and maybe even start, or like they have mining operations, which is a small container where they test things and look how they can integrate it into their electricity grid. And it's very exciting. It's moving very fast, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like with what El Salvador is doing, definitely, you know, like the demand for Bitcoin is going to go up. So all of the people that are invested in Bitcoin right now, you know, will actually benefit, you know, from that demand and that increase. So could you explain what "not your keys, not your coins" means, and what is a cold storage as well?
Yes, not your keys, not your coins means that in Bitcoin, we had some really bad experiences with exchanges, not only Mt. Gox, but several other exchanges being hacked. And that means that the exchange itself can be hacked and loses the coins, but also that the user account can get hacked. And like if you have some kind of a crypto exchange account, the hacker goes into your account, withdraws these coins, and the exchange says, hey, you didn't check your password or your second factor authentication. So the Bitcoiners really recommend always that you have your own wallets and your own hardware wallets, especially. You can start out with a mobile wallet, which is Blockstream Green, for example, or also Moon Wallet, which has nice Lightning capabilities to hold, I think up to like, I would hold there like $5,000 or something. But if you start saving really significant amounts more than the $5,000, I would think about getting a hardware wallet. And there's like the big ones, there's Trezor and Ledger, and they also support shitcoins. So we in the Bitcoin space, we have our own Bitcoin focused wallets like Cold Card, Seed Signer, Foundation Devices. Also we have one which is which you can build yourself from off the shelf developer board and scanner. It's really easy to just plug together some pins, and it's really like every 10-year-old kid can do this in half an hour. and this is amazing, you know, because then you hold your own keys. And nobody can take them from you. If they would first have to ask you or really force you or whatever. So this is another aspect of decentralization. We just don't want to have the nodes decentralized, because we also want to have the ownership that is decentralized on all these cryptographic keys. And this means not your keys, not your coins. So there's something very important to look into, how to hold these keys yourself. And a lot of people are distracted by all this shitcoin trading, and they should focus more on investigating about how to really save with Bitcoin and take it off the exchange.
So I just wanted to say during this video that you know, like our sponsor from Bitcoin Point has both wallet options and a non-custodial option if you have your own wallet with your keys to link straight to the app. So yeah, you recently came back from El Salvador, of course. You explained a little bit about what's going on there. So I see that. So I just wanted to ask about the $1 billion bond. Like, what is that all about?
So that's a very interesting development there. So we have Bitcoin, and we have a side chain called Liquid, which is developed by Blockstream and operated by a federation of companies, like I think 15 signers and around 40-50 companies. And you can actually issue specific bond or equity, so financial products on this. So so this sounds now like, oh, that's a new token or some shitcoin or whatever. No, when we go into a hyper Bitcoinization and we don't have fiat currencies anymore, there still will be companies which need equity or debt. So and it makes sense to raise this capital on a sidechain. But to come to your question is like, what is happening there? They are El Salvador wants to develop their electricity infrastructure, especially their mining infrastructure. They have a lot of experience in operating geothermal plants. So they have and even in Germany, they have a very good reputation on that, because they do this since the 70s or 60s even, these geothermal plants. And at the same time, they also want to develop a rural area in the Gulf of Fonseca, which is bordering with Honduras and Nicaragua.
Right.
And well, they have a volcano there. They want to put the mining infrastructure there, and basically mine Bitcoin when the electricity is not needed by the Bitcoin city they're going to build. They want to have like a development zone, like a special economic zone there. I'm very interested in this. I'm very interested in the Citadel theme and the free private cities. And as the world is going crazy, a lot of people are looking for relocation where they have to don't have to comply with a lot of these restrictions that are imposed on us. So I think that's an interesting way there. And basically what they do is like they raise $1 billion and take half of it and put it into Bitcoin. And the other half they take and build their infrastructure, especially for electricity and mining. And then they will pay 6.5% over the 10 years. But after year 5, they have a 5-year lockup for the Bitcoins of these 500 million Bitcoin, 500 million US dollar Bitcoins. And the last 5 years, they will start each quarter, about 20 quarters, they will start selling these Bitcoins after recovering some investment threshold. But there will be not only 6.5% to earn, but there will be a Bitcoin kicker on top of it. And attached to it again is like if you buy $100,000 of this bond, there will be attached to it that you can get a residency, like there's a residency by investment or passport by investment. So you even can like after 5 years can apply for El Salvador passport. So I think it's a great jujitsu play. And it's a great play by the El Salvador government to incentivize people to come. They have a special tax regime there. There's zero capital gains, zero income tax in this special economic zone. So it's an interesting idea.
So you actually answered my next question. So my next question was going to be about the Bitcoin city, but you mentioned, the free Bitcoin cities, which I actually didn't know about. I thought it was just the one.
No, it's just one. It's one in next to the volcano there, which is like the western part of it. So it's one Bitcoin city. They don't do three, but it's at the Gulf of Fonseca, which is bordering with Honduras and Nicaragua. So it's a very interesting location because it's actually like a big harbor, and everybody has access, like a bay, and everybody has access to it. And yes, but to create all this, they also will bring in Bitfinex, which is a big crypto exchange, and they will, and iFinex, which is the partner company there, to actually help to write and create the right financial regulation. So the plan basically is they want to do something like Singapore did from the 60s, 70s onward. And it's very interesting if you look at Singapore. Singapore also had like a family or like a group of families which were very much in charge of Singapore and really directing them towards becoming this very successful country now. And putting the right regulations, the right rule of law, the right security measures, the right infrastructure and stuff. So I think they're trying to copy what Singapore did and become like a Singapore of Central America and Americas with a focus on Bitcoin and crypto innovation.
So talking about the Bitcoin city, what's the population over there in El Salvador, and have you got any mixed feelings towards it, and how do they manage the price volatility as well?
That's a good question. So there are about 6 million El Salvadorians in El Salvador, and they have 2 million expats in the US. So something like 25% of the GDP is financed by remittance payments back to El Salvador, mainly from the US. So with Bitcoin, you can significantly reduce these remittance costs and sort of move the Western Union out of this and everything. And then the other place for them, they only have, I think 30% of the people there have a bank account. And only, it's pretty surprising. So only upper middle class people have that. And everybody else is just operating with cash money, or I don't know how they do it. So now I think more than half of the country, so like probably 3 million people, 50% of the people or more, have the government Chivo wallet, which is not perfect, and it has some infrastructure and growth problems because you cannot go from 0 to 3 million users in like 3 months or 2 months without any problems, basically. But they're learning very quickly, and they're getting a lot of competition from the Bitcoin wallets like Moon, like Bitcoin Beach, who's a local player there. So yeah, and we were talking to the Uber drivers, to the people we met during the conference, in restaurants and everywhere, and you could go everywhere. You just have a Lightning invoice and you just pay. And we had a great time, and we feel that there was a lot of skepticism when I was the first time in July, but now after 2-3 months after successful start, and we weren't expecting this, I was expecting not such a successful start, more like a disaster thing, but it is really beautiful how it all works. And you can go from the small pupusa stand and pay with Bitcoin there, and then you can go on the next day, you go to Starbucks or McDonald's or to the shopping mall, and everybody's in there. It's
really?
pretty cool. But the volatility is a problem. So the first time I was there in July, when the price went to 60 to 30, a lot of the businesses were suffering, especially in Bitcoin Beach, and it was like their first bear market. And as I said, it's a great saving technology, and it's with Lightning, it's very good for payments. But the short-term stability is an issue. And so you need really working capital stability. So the money you take in, and then the money you need to pay your supplier, you need something which is more stable. And that's why Achivo has Bitcoin and US dollar in their app. And I think also Bitcoin Beach will now add a US dollar account where you can go into your US dollar account, have stability, and move out, because everything that the people need to operate their businesses needs some other stability. But everything they can save, they are much smarter than to move it into Bitcoin and to hold it into US dollar, which is getting printed at an increasing rate. Right.
Very, very interesting. I can definitely see the potential there, and I can definitely see why you had a great time. Like, that's definitely a place that I need to check out as well. Hopefully 2022, 2023, depending on the COVID situation, you know? So do you think that more countries in the Western world could adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender, or in other parts of the world, such as Africa, Asia, for example?
We see a lot of excitement here in the region. I mean, we had a big Mexican bank there. The third richest person in Mexico, Ricardo Salinas, is taking his bank to a Bitcoin operation and Bitcoin standard. And then the big players in Mexico already before El Salvador did the move, they were sandboxing and experimenting and working with the big crypto exchanges like Gemini and Binance, so Bancolombia, Davivienda, all the big Colombian players. In Panama, we see different proposals for a crypto-friendly law. I think there will be a lot of pressure now on the banks here to become more crypto-friendly. And I think that Panama and the other players, they have to really pay attention, because when the Bitcoin bond is successful and the regulation in El Salvador is in, they have a probably a 2-3 year advantage over the other regional countries here. And I see Africa coming next. Africa probably will leapfrog the whole legacy infrastructure into a Bitcoin and stablecoin universe. And so I have there are some rumors about in West Africa that there will be something coming up, but I can't share that at the moment. So
okay, right.
and the Western world, I mean, I just left Austria as they increased the capital gains tax. There was a 1-year limit, and afterwards it was capital gains free, like in Germany, and they just removed this limit. So every time you buy and sell Bitcoin, it's a 27% capital gains tax.
Wow.
So it's insane. Like in El Salvador, it's legal tender, so you don't have to pay capital gains tax on it or anything. It's just treated as money as it should be treated.
Yeah.
And in Austria, they just come in and they say like, oh, we have to tax this now. I think that's the worst thing a country can do, is go out and tax this technology, because it's going to be the money technology of the internet. Like, how much more do you want to damage your economy and your, especially everything which is like digital? Like, people want to use it, and I think they will have to change their regulation at some point, because certain villages in Austria or in Europe, or they will just start using Bitcoin and Lightning as a payment system. And when the euro becomes like more and more dysfunctional, and with increasing inflation, nobody wants to hold it anymore, I think these local communities will start using it, and then the politicians and regulators have to look at it and say like, okay, maybe the reality on the ground is a different one, and we have to adapt our regulation and taxation to that.
Mm-hmm. And then how do you see Bitcoin adoption, considering that most countries treat it like a security?
I think it's making great moves forward. It's not only now basically proven within a few months in El Salvador that this thing really works,
right?
And so it works in the real world, in the meat space, to say so. You can go to restaurants and everything and pay with it. Mm-hmm. But it's also will make huge steps forward as internet infrastructure, where you really say like, okay, you want to pay a podcaster, and the podcaster can go on a podcast platform where he's paid by the minute and it's getting some satoshis. It mm-hmm. will very much find its way into all this new alternative media coming out, where anybody who has basically a smartphone can become his one-man TV and radio show, much like you do. Right. And you are the content creators, and there's a different incentive structure then because the viewers directly pay their content provider. Mm-hmm. And you also can see how it is getting into Twitter, that you can tip each other with Lightning. So I think that it's still early, but we are gaining a lot of momentum now.
Mm-hmm. And then where do you see Bitcoin in the next 5 and 10 years in terms of adoption and price, maybe? So like not financial advice, of course, but what's your thoughts?
In terms of adoption, I would say I'm insufferably, I'm very bullish on this. So I think we have like increased monetary printing, increased financial repression, and then on the other side we see more adoption in like real life and in the internet and by new media platforms. So that could be a very powerful move within 2026, 2027. Bitcoin really becomes the central settlement and payment layer for the internet age and for the information age. So in terms of price, I don't know what to say anymore. Like I can throw up funny US dollar numbers here, but if somebody creates 50% of all dollars in circulation in the last 2 years, it's like, it doesn't make sense for me to express the value of Bitcoin in US dollars or euros anymore. Right. I'm looking at more like, we should price this in ounces of gold. We should maybe even better prices in Amazon shares, or like take the market cap of the big FANG stocks like Facebook, Amazon, and Google, Microsoft, and price Bitcoin in this, because Bitcoin is probably better priced than something like this. So price predictions. I mean, I think the whole stock to flow thing will break to the upside, but I don't think that we should express prices in US dollars and euros anymore. It's a very tricky time. So maybe, I don't know. So I think the 100K are in play for the next months. Okay. And going after this, I mean, nobody knows how big the FOMO will get. It's already getting very funny. Like some boomer friends of my parents are buying Bitcoin and are like worried that they don't get to a full Bitcoin anymore. So we are like really in this phase now, and it doesn't really matter if you want to use it as a savings technology. Just start stacking slowly and create a base position of whatever you want to put in, like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of your money, and then just start saving in it. And start doing a research and like people ask me like, when do you sell your Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not the question. Like, it's when do you sell your euros or dollars? Because this thing is more robust and more long-term viable than any of your legacy fiat coins here.
Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, because you mentioned the big five, and you mentioned Facebook, which is now Metaverse, my question to you is, what is your whole opinion around the Metaverse and around NFTs?
I don't use Facebook anymore since probably 8
How
years.
comes? Is
I
it because
found
of
it
the
to
whole...
myself. It's
Go
very
ahead.
unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I always I was sitting like in my investment job, and everybody was like, I was looking to Facebook. Everyone was like on the beach or whatever.
Mhm.
And like I was like, I was super stressed doing some, I don't know, crazy infrastructure deals.
Mhm.
And so I don't know what the Metaverse stuff really is, and I'm not
Right.
planning to move anytime to the Metaverse. I'm
Mhm.
very much planning to move to Bitcoin City, but not to
Mhm.
the Metaverse, where our overlord Mark Zuckerberg
Mhm.
is controlling the Metaverse. And the
Mhm.
NFT thing is like, I think it's overblown.
Mhm.
Some people are trading funny JPEGs, and it's the new craze. It was, I think, in December 2017, we had something called Crypto Kitties, and they
Yeah.
were breeding cryptographic cats on the Ethereum sidechain. And this is
Right.
when Ethereum really finally completely lost me, because like, I'm here for sound money, hard money,
Yeah.
and you're breeding crypto cats on a blockchain. Like,
Right.
this is next level stupid. And now people are
Yeah.
coming around and doing trading JPEGs and NFTs. I
Mhm.
mean, there's one case for NFTs, I would say, like, which is maybe useful. If you are like an art dealer, like
Yeah.
these art pieces are usually in a storage in Switzerland, in a very safe environment.
Mhm.
And the art owner has a copy at home, and he holds some kind of a certificate which says that he's the owner of it. So you
Right.
can make a digital certificate of this,
Yep.
and then you can trade this as an NFT on whatever blockchain you want. But
Mhm.
like, this is like the only thing I was thinking, okay, that makes sense. And
Mhm.
everybody else was trying to sell you a bloody JPEG. Like, I mean, do what, like, everybody has to make his mistakes.
Yeah.
Go trade your NFTs, go crazy about the shitcoins, and
Mhm.
maybe you will at the end say like, oh, all this crypto shit is stupid. But I really would like to urge everybody, before you do any of that, do your Bitcoin research. There's like
Mhm.
bitcoin/resources.com by Gigi. And then there is Bitcoin is for everybody, or everybody, by Stefan Livera, which is a free online course, 12 hours. Sit down, do your research, and don't just throw your hard-earned pounds and dollars and euros into this crypto craze. Just try to do your research before on Bitcoin and understand what it is. And then if you like gambling, like, it's your money. I can't. I stopped evangelizing actually people one-on-one. You know, I like to do this, but one-on-one, people come to the NFTs like, no.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
don't waste my time.
I agree. So just briefly then, would you like to touch up on your company, just to let people
Oh
know like
yeah.
what your company is about, etc., etc.?
So we at Spectre, we started to build this hardware wallet, and
Yeah.
we do a lot of enterprise firmware and solutions for custody providers, and having some projects up our own pipeline here, our own roadmap. But
Right.
we were mainly having a lot of success the last 12 months because we built a software desktop app as a companion app to our hardware wallet. And what you basically can do with the Spectre desktop is that you connect the Spectre desktop to the Bitcoin core. And it's very recommendable to use Bitcoin core, run Bitcoin core. It's not rocket science. It just takes like 5 to 10 gigabytes as a pruned node on your computer. You run the Bitcoin core node and you do your own verification. And then as second, it's very important to run your own wallet in Bitcoin core. You can use Bitcoin core with this, and to have your own wallet infrastructure, so you don't use the back end and dox yourself towards Trezor or Ledger with addresses or your XPub. So it's better for your privacy. And then we have multi-sig. So we are not only supporting our wallet, we like all the other hardware wallets in the market, and we are very compatible and have a multi-vendor approach. That means you can have a multi-sig if you want to protect larger quantities. It's good for single sig wallets. You just have one key, but if you want to protect larger amounts, you can have multi-sig, which means, for example, you can make a 2 out of 3 multi-sig wallet, which means that you need 2 signatures from 3 keys to make a transaction. So you can have 1 key at home, 1 key at a safe deposit box, and 1 key at your, I don't know, parents or lawyer's place or whatever, you know. So you can, if somebody breaks into your flat, you still have a backup and somebody steals this. So this is an interesting method, and it's becoming more popular. Our software is used in Bitcoin Beach and by Bitcoin Reserve and by other players in the market. But it's very much focused on the individual Bitcoiner, and we want to help people run their own nodes, verification, keep their privacy. And recently we added Liquid, which is the technology where the Bitcoin bonds will be issued. And so in the near future, you will be able to hold your Bitcoin bonds on Spectre on the Liquid sidechain, and also maybe buy some Blockstream mining nodes and all this kind of exciting stuff there happening.
That's pretty cool. And then is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up? No, I mean, just be careful. Be careful what you do. And if you get onto Bitcoin, do your research. I mentioned before this website and this course. Make your homework and really ask yourself when somebody is selling you something. Also, everything I say, like, question what I say and do your research and always don't trust, verify, and move carefully, because it's a dangerous little crypto world out there. It is indeed. Well, Moritz, it was great to have you on. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming, and yeah, you know, I'll be following your journey as well. And I will myself have a look at the course, so you can send me the link to that. I'll be doing a lot more research into this as well. And just for the viewers, remember that you can download the Bitcoin Point app in my description, and you can actually, you know, sign up and be incentivized with a £5 incentive. So yeah, that was that, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. But yeah, Moritz, it was great to have you on the show. And
bye, guys.
I'll talk to you. Where can they find you first, actually, before you go? Where can they find you?
It's Spectre. Our website is spectre.solutions.
Right.
And we are on Twitter with @Spectre Wallet. And my handle is just look for Moritz on Spectre, and you'll find me. You know, so I have a terrible handle. I should change my handle probably.
Right. But yeah, guys, that was that. Be sure to follow Moritz as well, you know, on these different platforms, and reach out to him if you have any questions, or if you just want to find out a little bit more about his company and what it is that he does. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you staying to the end of the video, and that was that.